Hello guys, so today I'm going to do the reflection for the today's coaching video. Okay, so basically what I did was I did a 7 says game for 5 to 7 years old, and I also did it for 7 to 9 years old. So basically there are two age group. Okay, so for 5 to 7 years old I did the 7 says game, and eventually I planned the 7 says game for 5 to 7 years old at first. Alright, so basically what I decided to do was do a 7 says game where it's a bit modified. So basically they only have to remember like five activities or five motions that they will do during the game itself. So the reason I choose 7 says is because it not only keeps them physically active but also mentally, because they have to be a bit alert and listen to what the coach is saying. And another thing is that it actually kind of wakes them up, especially if the session is like in the morning or in the afternoon, like after they had lunch. It kind of make them wake up and stay active during the warm up, because they have to listen to what the instructor is saying, and they have to keep moving around. So that's why I choose MSS, because it benefits the kids and warm them up both physically and mentally. And another good thing about my I feel another good thing about my game was that the activities itself that I planned out. So basically, as I said, it's the game is a bit modified. So what I did was I only list out five activities or five instructions that they need to follow. So the first one was basically moving around to cone. So basically, if I say go to blue marker, they will all go to blue marker. If I say go to the red hoop, they will go to red hoop. So that will be under statics. So basically I follow the seven dominant movement patterns. So the movement is locomotion, because they are moving from one point to another point. Alright, so I applied locomotion here as they will be moving around. And another instruction that I told them was doing tuck sit. So basically tuck sit symbolizes the static movement. They have to stay in a position where they tuck in the knees, and it's basically, and it also kind of works on their core. And another one will be bear crawl, where they'll be moving around. And the fourth one will be bunny hop. So basically they'll be hopping around the area. And bunny hop would be under spring, because they are basically hopping, like they're jumping around. And then the last one would be doing motorbike landing. So motorbike landing would fall under landings, as it's not only uh, it not only falls under landing, but it also teaches the kids how to do the motorbike landing. So I think it's a crucial. I think motorbike landing is a crucial like movement, or like things that you need to teach like during warm up, so that they actually like remember, or they learn how to like practice how to do the motorbike landing. So yep. So yeah. So the actions were based on the seven dominant movement patterns. So each one of them represent the one dominant movement. And so yeah, this is how I plan my activity. So it's basically based on sciences, which is mental and physical, and the actions were basically planned using the seven dominant movement. And for the actual day, I was ready to coach, but the thing was that I didn't know that we have to coach a second group. So what I did was I decided to keep the game, Simon says, but instead I decided to make the activities harder for the older people. So what was my plan was that I decided to use the beanbag for the older people. So for example, for static for tuck seat, right, they will have to use the beanbag between their knee to tuck seat. And it's a bit harder lah, because they have to keep their knees close together, and then they have to like put force to keep the beanbag there. And then also made some progression, like if I told them to hop around, they can only hop around with one leg. So that's another progression. And um And also when they move around, right, they also move around with hopping on one leg. So that's another thing. And one of the problem I was facing was that I was planning on asking them to hop around with the beanbag on their head, and also back crawl around with beanbag on their head. But what I found out was that it was quite difficult for them to do it. So instead of hopping around with the beanbag on the head, I decided to change it on the spot and say that they can only hop with one leg. So the younger one hop with two legs, the older one hop with one leg. And then for the break call, I decided to make it same because there isn't any other progression I was able to think on the spot. Also, I was only able to think for the bunny hop. And yeah, so that's where I feel that my warm-up session went wrong. Is basically I didn't uh, plan correctly for the older kids. It's basically my planning issue because I never actually like plan for them. I was originally planning for 5 to 7 years old lah. So, but I think what went well was that my session is because I decided to use the 5 or 7 dominant movement patterns, and then also use to try to make the activity both mental and physical as possible, so that the kids are really active. And as you can see during the session, right, what I did was I made all those physical work at the start so that they run around, they get physically tired, and at the end, right, you can see me trying to trick them. So basically I keep saying like wrong instructions, or saying instructions that is not possible lah. So there's one part where I said uh, Simon says hop towards yellow marker, and they were all decided to hop, but there was no yellow marker. So at the end, I decided to go mental because I don't want to make them too tired, and it's a good thing because they have to start using their mental ability, like they have to start thinking while they are tired. So it kind of activates um, their mental status also. So yeah, that's all for my reflection. So to conclude, I think what went wrong was that my planning for the older kids, because I never planned for them, and I was not able to make a good session for the older kids, and it was not very challenging for them as well. However, I think what went well was the original planning that I did, and it actually showed that it was working. So yeah, that's all for my reflection.